Hi and good afternoon, Miles here with another tool review for you today. Let's have a look at what we've got. As you can see here, it's a pair of pliers, like electrical pliers, and I didn't buy these specifically on their own. It actually came as part of a kit with some other stuff that I bought. However, these particular pliers are available on eBay and some other stores. They seem to be priced about between £8 to £9, some are about £10, so they're not particularly cheap. And they come under a number of different brands. I mean, they're clearly sort of Chinese origin. And the brand on these ones is Feibao, I think. I don't really know how you pronounce it. There's another little icon here that says, I can't hardly read it without my glasses. You say Feibao or something like that. But I've seen this the same tool available from Silverline and some other manufacturers. So clearly, as quite often the case, there's one factory in China just producing them, without using their own brand, unless this is the brand. But they make them for any manufacturer that, any retailer that wants to pay to have a whole bunch of them branded. So it's kind of brandless really, but there seems to be plenty of these on the market, so it's worth a bit of a closer look. So obviously it's Chinese origin. It's got the Chinese letters on. I won't pretend that I can read them because I can't. There's a different mark down here. Foshan Fabo Tools Company Limited. Maybe I could Google that and see if you can find out anything more about them. But yeah, on the face of it, it's a fairly simple packaging, and inside is actually quite a weighty pair of pliers. And it just slides open, as you would expect. Let's look at the packaging for a second. It says, Fabo Professional Tools, Pliers Series, more generic wording. The Professionals Tools, Skill in User. It's spelt wrong, but there we go. European type high quality pliers. I don't know why it says European type. I mean, pliers are pliers. This is alluding to being sort of European build quality, which is, well, I don't believe that they are, but then that's very ambiguous anyway. And it's also suggesting that China is incapable of making good quality tools, and that's not true. That's not fair. Okay, well, I can't really be bothered to read all this. It tells you to wear protective goggles when you're using them. Okay, right. So here we go. There's a little bit of transit oil on it. So when they make it, they quite often, if any kind of bare metal surfaces, they'll just leave a layer of oil on to stop it oxidizing in transit and looking like a rusty tool before you even get it. Well, first impressions in this head is obviously cast, as we're all inside the arms here. It's a fairly simple set of snips really. I wouldn't say they were pliers particularly. They're snips, to be honest. I mean, there's the teeth, and they feel pretty sharp actually. That's a good sign. And there's some kind of crimp there for maybe battery terminals. And this looks like some kind of crimp as well, but I don't really know for what. Then we've got some wire strippers there, wire stripping teeth. It don't look like they're lining up very well. And there's some exposed teeth here as part of the casting. I don't really know what that's for. Maybe opening jam jars or something. Kind of looks like one of those. And the handle's cast in this sort of rubbery plastic. It says on it Feibao Tools there as well. That's as wide as it seems to open, so it doesn't open particularly wide. And I can feel, you won't be able to see it on camera, but I can feel there is play in that. I can move the handles in a way that's not just using the rotation there. So the manufacturing tolerances on that hinge are not brilliant. You kind of feel like they've already done a few years hard work. You know, they're a little slack, but there we are. Now they're not rated for using on live electrics. It doesn't say that anywhere. It doesn't say, you know, rated to like 10,000 volts or whatever. But if you were tempted to, you can see that actually on both sides, the casting inside actually protrudes out of the plastic. So if you were feeling a little bit trusting of them and you wanted to cut through a live wire with that, I think you'd have a nasty surprise. I wouldn't do anyway. I mean, with all the metal coming back here, and obviously these are exposed too, you'd have to be pretty stupid to want to work on live electrics or something like this. But even so, that's a little poor that it hasn't been cast very accurately there. The steel itself looks pretty reasonable. I couldn't tell you what kind of steel that was, whether it was some kind of high tensile steel that it's been cast and then ground, or whether it's just a very normal mild steel. I don't know. It doesn't say. The casting itself is a little rough. I mean, there's a lot of sort of swarf visible in it. It's not necessarily so bad a cast, but there's been no attention to it since it was cast. You know, normally you'd expect someone to just sort of trim off any small bits of swarf. But they haven't bothered doing that with this. Okay, well, should we give it a go cutting and stripping some electrical cable and see how it measures up. So I've got a bunch of electrical cables here, different types, and we can see what we think. How about we start with something fairly small. This is 1.5 mil cables. Just try cutting a bit first. Those teeth, you're never going to be able to see on the camera, I wouldn't have thought, but the teeth don't actually line up very well. There is definitely an offset that there shouldn't be. Ow, I just put my finger in there. Okay. Oop. Butterfingers. Yeah, well, you know, cuts it. It's a good sign. Not brilliantly. I mean, you kind of cut it, but it leaves some in there. You know, it feels like a slightly odd thing to work with, actually, because when you use tools like this, you've always got like a finger inside to actually open and close it if it's not spring loaded. But this just feels a little weird. And that is a bit of a finger trap, you know. Yeah, so, ow, got my finger in there now. Yeah, you almost want to use it two-handed. It's not really a very good one-handed tool. Oh, there we go. Now let's try doing some wire stripping, and they give you all these different sizes. I'd say it's probably the second one. Let's give it a go. Maybe you can see on camera there, it doesn't really line up very well, but it does line up. Yeah, okay, well, that worked alright. Let's try the neutral. No, I think that's operator stupidity. Yeah, okay. Does a reasonable job with that, I suppose. This is like an oil gooing out of the hinge, but it's probably going to do that for a while while it's new. Okay, what if we try cutting like a fatter cable? Let's try it. This is 10 mil, 10 square millimeters cross section cable. I don't know what that is in gauge. Yeah, cuts it fairly effortlessly actually. But then when you cut it, and I'm squeezing that quite hard, it takes a bit of getting off. I think that's because the offset isn't quite right. I think that's because well, there shouldn't be an offset. The blades should come together precisely, but they don't. That's probably why it's not parting particularly well. But it's certainly cutting. It's kind of the same kind of wire, so I guess it's going to be similar performance. Yeah, see, it's actually not, I'm squeezing that hard and it's pulling a lot of the copper out with it. What I'm going to do now is try and cut something a little bit thicker. This is 16mm wire. It's like a tail wire. It's so it's only got, I think it's 7 strands, so it's not particularly flexible. It doesn't really need to be. Let's have a go of cutting that. That's pretty tough. Wow, that was difficult. That took all my strength in both hands to cut that with this. You know. Okay, general opinion, it's cheap. It's pretty cheap. It's not particularly amazing quality. It's all right. I mean, you know, if you want to just keep something in the glove box in the car just to have access to something if you need it, then okay, this would probably be all right. But I wouldn't use this as a go-to tool for anything electrical at all. It's just a little bit weird to use it. I just constantly feel like I'm about to trap my finger in something. You know, it doesn't feel particularly pleasant to use, and the blade's not lining up is a bit of an issue. It's not a showstopper, but it's not particularly satisfactory. Well, thank you for watching that, and I hope it's been interesting to you. Do please like and subscribe, and if you want me to make more tool review videos, do leave a comment to ask me to do so below. It encourages me to do a few more. Okay, well, thanks very much, and hopefully see you again soon in a future video.